Oh hello, to stay on theme with the game we're playing today, this video will be Wii Remote compatible, and don't worry, the Wii Wheel is not required, but you are going to want the Wii Zapper. With the next generation of consoles on its way, Sonic Team realized that the next big Sonic game just would not work on the Nintendo Wii. It was barely more powerful than last gen's GameCube. So Sonic Team stole the Yamato and split itself in two. One team working on Sonic 06, which, go watch that video, and the other team working on a Wii game using the motion controls of the Wii Remote, Sonic and the Secret Rings. This game was intended to be a revolution of Sonic, as the Wii was originally called the Nintendo Revolution. I don't know why they thought automatic moving would be the revolution that Sonic needed, but it did revolutionize bad. The game would take place in the Arabian Nights, using Sonic characters to fill certain roles in those stories. Except for Sonic, he's Sonic. The art direction was heavily inspired by Shadow of the Colossus, Prince of Persia, and God of War, which is very apparent, and for an early Wii game, this looks pretty good. The environments are beautifully fleshed out, the atmosphere of every area is distinct, and... Sorry, I'm just getting a headache from all the positive things I've been saying about this game. Well hey, I mean the last Sonic game gave me appendicitis, for real, I was in the hospital after that video went up. Nope. Well hey, since the last Sonic game gave me appendicitis, for real I actually had appendicitis, maybe this one will give me a kidney stone. And actually, now that I think about it, it's probably best to play it safe. I mean, I don't actually have to play this game. I mean, it's not like I'm tied to a Wii Remote or anything. Son of a bitch. Last video didn't get that many views, I get to reuse that joke. Well, I just started the game, and I already wish I was using any other controller. A single Wii Remote, the cornerstone of early Wii games, and a controller that I remember being bigger, but evidently not. The game opens with Sonic asleep in his house when a genie named Shara emerges from his copy of Aladdin and the Magic Lamp. She shows him that someone is erasing the pages of the book from within and destroying the world of the Arabian Nights. Sonic agrees to help her, and she gives him a ring that signifies him as her master, able to wish for whatever he wants within the limits of her powers. They both board a magic carpet and blue skidoo into the book. There they run into Eraser Jin, the person erasing the world, and he explains his goal to search for the 7 world rings. Shara claims that they don't even exist, which pisses off Jin so much that he shoots an arrow of fire at them, which Sonic takes the hit. Eraser says he'll remove the arrow if Sonic brings him the world rings, but if he lets the flame die out, then he'll die. Thus begins their journey to find the 7 world rings. Along the way they meet characters from the story, but Sonic recognizes them from the real world, even though it's just an illusion, I guess. I guess they look and sound like Sonic's friends and Eggman, but they don't recognize Sonic, or even know their names in the real world. I get using characters that we recognize to tell a story that takes place in a different world or time period, but then why is Sonic still just Sonic from the real world? Is it so that we can get multiple scenes of him thinking he recognizes one of his friends and Eggman? Because it happened at least twice, and it wasn't really funny either time. As they collect the world rings, which Jin is only making harder than necessary by sending enemies to stop them from doing anything, they learn that each ring is sealed with an emotion, and whoever collects the rings must be sacrificed to create a link between the book world and the real world. They also find Eraser's lamp, which they decide to save for a last resort, but like fuck that. This bastard's trying to erase the world and form it into his own image. Anything this powerful should be a first resort. Unless it has consequences that I don't remember about in the story, or maybe it was because they would still need a way to get the fire thingy out of Sonic's chest. I don't really remember because most of the cutscenes, my eyes were just kind of glazed over. I spent most of this game watching OBS to make sure I didn't record more than an hour per session, because I gotta look out for my sanity. Once they get the rings, Jin tries to kill Sonic as a sacrifice. Shara sacrifices herself instead. This causes Sonic to absorb the rings with the negative emotion sealed and transforms into Darkspine Sonic, who has a design I do like a lot. I just wish it was in a different game. Any of the other games, for that matter. Sonic beats Jin and uses the lamp to force him to grant 3 wishes. Bring Shara back to life, restore the book to how it was, and forever be sealed within the lamp. After disposing of the lamp, Sonic finds a way out of the book, and his story is immortalized within as Sonic and the Secret Rings. The story's fine. I can't really think of anything wrong with it, but that's probably just because of how little I cared. And mostly that's the fault of the gameplay, but the story served its purpose of giving us the 7 MacGuffins and how to get them so that Sonic can use a more powerful form for the final boss. I like the presentation, although I wish the cutscenes weren't so blurry. I get the idea to make it look more like it's on an old paper, but I think I prefer a better look at the characters and environments. There's, I think, only 1 or 2 cutscenes that are fully CGI animated, and these are easily the best in the game. I get you can't really do a whole game like this, but I would have liked to see a little more as opposed to the almost barren comic book panels. In terms of gameplay, I think you'd have more fun setting your Wii on fire. Automatically moving forward hinders this game so much. It's hard to be even a little precise when the game is on autopilot. Sure, there is a brake button, but shouldn't it be the other way around? Holding a button to move would probably suck just as much now that I think about it, but God, if there's a small platform, you just have to hope that you can stomp on it. It just doesn't work. Who thought of this? It's a bad idea. The only way to move backwards is to tilt the Wii remote back, but sometimes it just decides that it's not going to work. So you'll be running into a wall, stuck trying to tilt backwards with Sonic just not at all helping, and you looking like an idiot. Moving from side to side isn't any better. Once again, tilting the Wii remote makes any form of precision impossible. Not to mention that unless you press 2 at the lightest of taps, Sonic will slide before jumping, which means you can slide into an early grave. Practically no level gimmicks work well since you're not in direct control, no timing challenges work, most 2D sections just suck so much ass, especially when you have to balance on these ledges. Like, this isn't God of War, this is Sonic, I should be running on the wall at this point. The homing attack only works when it feels like it because you have to shake the Wii remote to do it, but there's also the slight delay from when the target locks on and when you can actually homing attack. Switching grind rails means you have to shake the Wii remote. Practically everything you do in this game involves shaking the goddamn Wii remote. Sometimes it feels like tilting doesn't work. You'll jump over things all the damn time. The level design is fine enough, but the controls are so hardwired into this game's design that I don't think traditional controls would really save it. That's not to say that I don't see the vision. Sometimes it works fine enough that I could pretend that this is just the bad part of a game I like playing, but it's not. It's actually the best part of a game I don't like playing, and some of these levels just be way too simple with normal controls. And in case you haven't had enough of me bitching, I really can't understate how frustrating the controls are. There are so many instances of Sonic just not doing what you want him to do. Homing attacks not working, jumping not working, moving backwards not working, hell, sometimes moving forwards doesn't even work. And it doesn't help that the game's entire structure is fucked. There are 7 levels that aren't the tutorial, each having their own missions that use the same few areas from the level. There are specific missions you need to do in order to progress, but no way of knowing which ones those are. Sometimes they're special missions and are listed further down than some options with more unique names that are right at the top of the list. Sometimes you need to go back to a previous level, but the only way to know which one is to hope that the last cutscene made it easy to guess. You could spend hours trying to do certain missions that aren't helping you progress in the slightest. And because it's only 7 levels with maybe 2 unique areas to each one, you're going through the same parts of the level over and over again, so it gets pretty repetitive even with different missions. There's also a level up and skill system. As you level up, you earn new skills that you can put into your ring as long as you have enough space. These can be speed boosts, faster recovery, better controls. In all honesty, I couldn't feel the difference. The only thing that didn't completely suck was this first boss, which was like 3 hours into my run, by the way. It wasn't terrible, whoop-de-fucking-do. Lastly, there are 2 abilities you need to fill this gauge to use. Speed Break and the other one, that I forgot the name of because I never used it. Speed Break gives you a boost of speed that ends if you, God forbid, touch anything. And the other slows down time, but it also slows you down and makes the game look like this, which is why I never used it. The only silver lining is that the music is really fucking good, like even by Sonic standards. This soundtrack is way better than this game deserves. The only song I got sick of was Seven Rings in Hand, and that's just because it plays so often, and it always restarts, meaning you just hear the same like 3 parts over and over and over again, and it just gets stuck in your head, and I see why people don't really like it, even if on its own the song is actually pretty good. But the game, just like everything else, makes it shit. Alright, we're towards the end of the video, which is where I reveal that I've deceived you all. You've all been bamboozled. You can never hope to pull that wool from under your eyes. I didn't actually beat this game. I gave up. I got stuck on for the first Eraser Jin boss fight for over half an hour, and I quit. The boss fight was too damn long, and needing to restart after every death, hearing the same few voice lines, this one bullshit attack, and the fact that I realized I was trying for Over half an hour. I had to make a choice between quitting the game and not quitting the game. The choice was obvious. I quit. I wanted to beat this game. I really wanted to. And that fills my lying quota. But there's just nothing in this game worth putting more than half an hour into my valuable time into fighting one boss to see. I spent the majority of this game just waiting for it to be over, or for me to have recorded long enough to feel satisfied with the night. But at a certain point, I just couldn't do it anymore. It just simply was not worth it to keep playing. Sonic and the Secret Rings, I think it's best if things are over between us. It's not me, it's you. This game just sucks. 06 is almost definitely a worse game just for the state that it was released in, but in this game's case, there's just no secretly good game hiding under the surface if it just had more time and polish. This game is done. This is exactly what the devs intended it to be, as far as my knowledge, unless they did have to cut stuff. But the main gameplay loop, the core of the game, just simply is not fun, and at its worst, it's infuriating to the point where I don't understand how anyone had the patience to beat it. It simply is a bad game. One of Sonic's worst. This game, it just isn't fun. I do not recommend playing it, even just to shit on it. At least 06, it's funny if you play it for like an hour. This game just sucks. It's not fun, it's not funny. It just blows. I get that people are different and some people might really like this game, but I don't. Alright, we've made it through the worst of it with Sonic. But before we get to what I've been looking forward to, probably the most, we have to go back to God of War to finish off that marathon. For now, we will come back to it for the Norse games, but for now, the end of the Greek games with God of War Ascension. So to make sure you don't miss that video, subscribe with notifications on, and like this video, because that's a thing you can do. Go watch my other reviews of games that I've actually beaten, and I will see you. The sentence is over. Get out of here.
Yeah.